Morning. I want to give you just a quick rundown of how to start your own sourdough starter. Um, it's really simple. Don't be intimidated. Don't let it worry you. Um, it does take a few days, so you have to be patient. First thing you want to do is you want to have a glass container. This isn't necessarily ideal. I prefer to use something like this. It's a pint jar, but this will work. And my pint jars are all full, so we're going to use this. To that, I am going to add approximately, maybe a little less. This is kind of a smaller jar. Probably about a half cup. It's smaller on the top too, so I have to do this. About a half cup of flour. It doesn't have to be exact. It's going to work just the same. Oh, come on. Don't do that to me. Well, I got flour everywhere. Anyway, so there you got your flour in there. The only other thing you need is some water. And to that half cup, I would add probably close to a third. I'm going to start with more like a fourth, and then we can add to it. I think it'll probably take the full third. Yeah. You want it to be not super runny, but at the same time you also don't want it too thick. You just mix that up so that all the flour is mixed in, which in this square bottle I'm finding much harder to do. Sourdough kind of has some tricks, but they're not hard tricks. They, like I say, mostly it's just time consuming. Okay, you can see here, this is kind of a thick paste. You could make it a little runnier if you want to. I'm probably going to just leave it like this. If it's too dry, it doesn't bubble up as easily. Anyway, and now I'm going to close it down, but I don't want to close it tight. I like to leave breathing room, and so see, normally it would close down tight like that, and I'm going to leave it up like that just so the lid will keep out bugs, for fruit flies specifically, and it will keep out and then it'll let it breathe so that it can do its rising thing. It's very important that you use glass, or at the very least plastic, because sourdough reacts with metal, and so your end product ends up being a really, really nasty tasting product, and you don't want that. You want good bread. So there's that. Now I'm going to show you. Yesterday I started a start in this jar here. It's kind of I don't think you can probably see it too awfully well, but I'll scoop some out here in a minute. It's softer, a little watery, and I am going to scoop off. You can see a few bubbles in there. I'm going to scoop off about half of it off the top, and I'm just going to toss that. I don't know of any particular use for that. Now, I'm going to add in a fourth of a cup of flour. Oops, I forgot to get water. Let me do that real quick. A little bit less than a fourth of a cup. You want it, again, to have that same consistency that you did yesterday. Again, nothing but flour and water. A little more. I love doing sourdough for a variety of reasons. For one thing, it breaks down the wheats, the gluten, and so unless you're celiac, technically you're supposed to be able to eat the stuff. And for most people that I've talked to, even if you're gluten sensitive, you're okay to eat it. Okay, and there I go. I've got my sticky starter again. This is day 2 now of this one. And again, I put the lid on and leave it slightly loose. I was going to show you in this. Also, I use, instead of metal, you don't want metal if you can help it in any way, this has a porcelain lining on it. Those are not any more expensive than regular jar lids. The other thing you'll want to see is you can, I have taken a push pin and put a few little holes in the top, and I won't tighten it down, just enough to hold it in place. But it's got those holes. Again, it does better if it has just a little bit of breathing space. It will rise otherwise, but it just does better if it has a little bit of breathing space. Okay, I think that's all I need to tell you. Oh, I know what else I was going to say is that the reason I use sourdough is that I can't do yeast. And though sourdough is a yeast, it ferments, it is considered a wild yeast, and it actually breaks down the gluten where regular yeast won't do that. You do have to be patient, though. Like I said before, must be patient. Okay, I think that's it for the starter. We will come back tomorrow and do day 3.